Little pump from BTC there. Took a few of us by surprise, I think. And things are looking interesting now because BTC is pushing into resistance, but the market overall is looking messy. Okay, things are looking terrible, especially that Asia session yesterday that flushed out a ton of bulls. So for me, there's only one chart we actually need to be paying attention to right now to try and get a gauge as to when this market is actually going to turn bullish again. So I'm going to cover that for you. Then I've got lessons for you today. I've got scalper setups that have been playing out all day. I'm going to teach you guys a couple of things on tokens like Sol, Jupiter. I've got what else? I've got Ondo and things like that. Scalper setups just for you guys. I'm going to show you how it's done. I'm going to show you how we do things. So we got tons to talk about here today. Let's get right into this. Remember, hit the like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. You know the drill. So this man, if you're new here, well, here's the likes bouncer. He's in charge, guys. Hit those likes. Do the things that you need to do. And let's talk about banter bubbles. Again, another mixed bag here for us. And we can see HNT. That's coming up a lot on my Twitter feed lately. There's a lot of comments on HNT. We saw 𝗬𝗣𝗑 doing relatively well. There was some kind of Trump launch linked to 𝗬𝗣𝗑. So that is interesting. Matic, absolute dog shit, going to zero. And I think they're doing that swap out pretty soon. But as you can see, a little bit of green shoots opening now after that massive flush out. We had, well, for me, it was in the middle of the night. And, you know, things now starting to turn a little bit. But can we trust this move? So I'm going to show you where we are on BTC. I'm going to show you my current trade that I'm sitting in and my game plan. So let's just get right into this. And look, I mean, there's Popcat again. Top left, Popcat 5%. Top right, whiff 4%. What bounces nicely when the market recovers? Well, there's no doubt it's some of these meme coins. Okay, let's look at BTC. And just see where we are on the 4 hour. So it's been a hell of an interesting 24 hours. We had a mega flush out. So yesterday we were sitting in a long situation. I think we were up here, if I remember correctly. And they came back, stopped it out. And while I was asleep, basically sent everybody to zero, all the leverage traders. And they bounced around our 56K liquidity zone. Now you can see we had a wick here that I mentioned yesterday that was not dealt with. And for me, we needed to come and deal with that at some point. Now, naturally, you know, these things become like magnets and eventually they do get there. As much as we don't want them to go to those areas, they often come and visit those regions. So 56K was pinged and they actually sent it a little bit lower. So I would assume there were a ton of stops sitting in this area and they took out a lot of bulls that had stopped sitting under the zone. So very interesting the way they came and flushed that out and then they sent it up pretty nicely. Now we've had a little bit of chop today and you can see currently what is going on. So we are sitting at our first reaction zone. Now this is a rejection area. This is resistance area for BTC traders, 57,665 right here, right now. It's a TP zone, okay? Now, naturally, things can turn more bullish and things can start blowing through these types of areas. But right now, if you're sitting in a long like me, you are now at TP zone. So we're going to take profit here on this BTC trade. And this is where the bears are going to look for rejections and even on corresponding alts like Rune, for example, could be teeing up right now for a short. If BTC is going to reject here, Rune is going to reject here. And we've been watching that one on about the 15-minute or 1 hour candle. So what do we need for BTC? 57,660. This is now resistance. When do we turn bullish again? Let's pop through that region. Then when we reject, we can look for buys again, 57,600, and then send that one higher. But right now, you're in TP zone. If you long BTC, this is where you're exercising a little bit of caution. And then to the downside, if you're going to hold this position open, let's look to the downside. You've got 56,900. That is support number one. And then a little bit lower, 56K once again. So that's essentially what you need to be watching now, especially the downside stuff. And we want to make sure we are going to hold these things if they are going to turn a little bit more bullish. But as you can see, tons of work to do here for BTC. And we can look at this one again in detail, but I did prep a scalper zone or scalper setup for you guys. So this is BTC on the 1 hour that I've been tracking as well. So we'll keep our eyes on this. You can see I do have some interim support here on the 1 hour that we're watching here, 57,164. So let's see if that little region can hold, then there might be a little bit energy left here for the bulls. Let's just see where our 382 is quickly and just make sure we got some kind of support base. So yes, if you are sitting in BTC, you can also watch 57,164. That could be an interesting level here. If we can hold that type of region there, then there might be a little bit of extra in the tank here for us. So let's see how this plays out now in the next, say, half an hour. And Joy making a very good point here. She says payment here is liking the likes. Guys, hit the like, hit the bell. If you're learning something, hit the like. If you love the entertainment and the comedy, hit the likes again. And if you love the man in goggles, well, you know what to do. It's all going on. Yeah, there he is. And
join that Sniper Club link.
That's the Sniper Club link. I'm going to take you guys through a bit of Sniper Club today as well, because we took them through a nice little trade on Ondo, and we'll go through that in a little bit more detail as well for you guys. But let's just try and understand what is actually going on here in the markets. Why was this thing so messy? And why is advice just telling everybody what went down? So the S&P had its worst daily candle since the August 5th dump. Now, you guys remember that. That was pain. And then the Department of Justice subpoenaed Nvidia. Okay, so there's an antitrust investigation going on. So we know that triggered a lot of pain. And then the ETFs were down $288 million yesterday. These ETFs are under serious pressure here at the moment. And he's just saying, yeah, it seems like BTC is playing the exact same playbook like July and August. Now, what is that playbook? It's the dump at the start of the month, then some kind of bullish push later on into the month. Okay, so, you know, are we in the same playbook? On my tile on Monday, I did say to you guys, 5th of September, we were looking for a dump. Now, this one came a little bit early. Hopefully, they're not going to come and end us again tomorrow. I think one massive dump is enough for now. And we're running out of undies here. But yeah, I mean, we were looking at the 5th as the dump day. And this has also started a lot of chaos. You might have noticed yesterday as well that Asian session sold off, and the Bank of Japan governor just reminding everybody they'll hike rates. Okay, they prepared to hike the rates. Now, remember all the drama with that Japanese carry trade that everybody was panicking about. The S&P was dumping. Everything was looking miserable when that was going down. He's just stuck his hand up again. He said, hello, I haven't gone anywhere. This thing is still on the table. So that can definitely throw a bit of a spanner in the works on the S&P. So let's just take a look at this S&P. This is us on the daily. Now, that carry trade drama was somewhere in this type of region here when we were having that huge sell-off again. And we can see the S&P is now still double topping, okay? So the bears are saying, oh, we told you so. This thing is now falling over. But my guess here is there's tons of shorts sitting up here. And I don't think the powers that be that control this S&P, I just think they're going to come and grab tons of liquidity there before they send this thing down. So it is something that we need to pay attention to. But after all the drama yesterday and this Bank of Japan situation, we can see the S&P has now started dipping over. And what we're watching here is the 50-day moving average. Look how beautiful this is, even on stocks. Okay, you guys know how I go on about this 50-day MA on crypto, the altcoins and things like that. But look at this S&P. It just sits on this 50-day MA. Nice little reaction here. And, you know, these are one of these reaction zones where we say, you know, it puts the brakes on, even if it's for a short while it decides what the next move is. So 5,500 now is current support that you guys can watch. But I suspect we do have this nice little gap here. So if they're going to send it down this low, I would expect 5,450 here. So let's see what that looks like. But something like that would make a little bit of sense to me if we start dipping into that region there. That, you know, a gap close, a little 618 there makes a bit of sense to me. Okay, let's look at a couple of things going on here. We had this US JOLTS jobs opening today, okay? And a little bit of drama here. You can see it came out a little bit lower, and that caused a little bit of volatility in the markets. But this is what's happened since then. There's now a 40% chance that the Fed are going to cut rates by 50 basis points in September, compared to 20% chance 2 days ago. Now, that sounds a little bit bullish for me if we're going to get some kind of run into the 18th of September. Remember, my view here is still we're going to get some kind of push into the 18th of September rate cuts. Then I suspect we get some kind of sell-off. So this could obviously fuel the market a little bit. And they look out. Okay, they're most likely going to price something like this in, and then when it arrives and it is exactly what they want, there's typically some kind of sell-off there. So just look out for that. And what is James saying here? He says, every day Dylan is here keeping us smiling. Don't underestimate the energy required to keep the humor. Guys, you know what? It takes a lot of energy to keep the spirits high. Let's go. Appreciate that, guys. Hit that like button if you like it. Okay. And then this was great. I mean, Miles dropped this today. He saw one of these comments in his shows earlier today. I mean, if this isn't a sign that the bottom is close, I mean, I don't know what it is. And he says one of his YouTube comments today, this guy was saying, I sure wouldn't buy crypto right now. What a scam. So when we know, it's got to be close. When people are behaving like this, they're getting so salty, they're getting so tired. And remember, this is the job of the market. The market wants to come and make you tired. The market wants to end you. So you're selling, they get better prices lower down, and then they send it up. And their whole game plan is for you to then go buy those green candles. Okay, so if you're watching the show now, you're still watching crypto shows, you're learning about the fundamentals, you're learning how to chart, you're learning how to TA, you are so ahead of the curve. Okay, when BTC's at 90K, there's going to be fresh meat coming in here, and you guys are going to be selling into those guys. So congrats if you have the stamina. Congrats if you're hanging in there. This market is choppy as hell. It's difficult as hell, but just stick around, okay? It's going to play out for you, and you're going to be rewarded for your patience in the end. Okay, oh, there we go. And so BTC pushing higher. Let's actually take a look at our liquidation map here as well quickly, and just a couple of things to the upside we need to pay attention to here if we start pushing now a little bit aggressively. What are we going to look at here? 59.5. Okay, that's an interesting zone for me. And then 60,300 to the upside, and then the downside, guys, we're looking at about 56,700. There's a nice cluster down to 56K, so that also makes quite nice sense here if we go back to that 56K level. And Lloyd says, you just can't make this shit up. Okay, so let's go and let's watch. Oh, gosh, this thing is cooking now. And now this is where the FOMO kicks in, guys. Okay, here we go. So here's the current long situation on Prime XBT. Ray, are you still short there, bro? Or are you long? What's going on?
I got stopped, bro. I took profits on my short.
But Ray's been playing this market like a fiddle at the moment, and he nailed that rejection area there. And let's see if it goes. So I got that long a little bit earlier, just before that little pop. And that's going to pay for some stops that we hit yesterday. Okay, so we took a bit of pain there on BTC, but now, we're going to be okay. So let's keep our eyes on this. Okay, it's looking nice and bullish here. Maybe you guys can keep pumping this thing while the show continues. And we're going to watch this 57,164 here and see how we go. Okay, let's go. Nvidia. Let's just discuss this situation, because I really believe Nvidia is the chart you need to watch for the S&P. It's the chart you need to watch for crypto. It's basically a sentiment chart for us here. And after that drama on Nvidia, we're going to look at that a bit more. And the guys obviously panic sold. Okay, we had the results come out, and they started selling that. Then you get this DOJ thing, and everybody starts panicking. So Radar Hit says 300 billion wiped off Nvidia's market cap today. I mean, what an absolute dog show this was. And the Kobisi letter just telling us all these things that Nvidia is doing, the record-breaking situations going on. Posted the largest single daily gain of market cap in history. They posted the largest single daily loss of market cap in history. That's got to burn. Imagine getting chopped up both ways on this thing. Become the largest public company in the world, erased $1 trillion of market cap in under a month, created an estimated 25,000 total employees that are now millionaires. I mean, this is insanity. And, these guys control something like 80 to 90% of the market. So guys are obviously getting salty. And, James just giving you a little breakdown as to what is going on. And he's saying any fallout from this DOJ probe of Nvidia is likely years away. So this is just your typical example when you get a headline like that and the market suddenly panic sells everything. But fundamentally, nothing has actually changed, and it could take years for this thing to play out. And when it does, it's most likely some kind of fine or something like that in the end, or there's some kind of settlement, and everybody kicks on. So everybody forgets about it at some point. So remember, these type of panic situations, they are relatively short-lived, provided the fundamentals and things with Nvidia are actually okay. There's no real, major reason to panic about this thing. So what I've done for you guys on Nvidia, and we've got the daily chart prepped here for you. And just a little note, look how this thing drifted so beautifully into this little 618. So when there's a sell-off, okay, this stuff works in crypto, it works in stocks, it works all over the place. And when there's a sell-off, you saw on the S&P, we hit that 50-day MA, nice little reaction, and Nvidia hits corresponding levels. What is the corresponding level? The 618 fib at 106. So that is a nice little banger there. And levels to watch now for Nvidia. When is the bottom on Nvidia? And I suspect when this thing starts bouncing aggressively again, we get a nice recovery in that S&P. We get a strong recovery in BTC and, a lot of these altcoins as well. You'll most likely see things like Render and companies start absolutely ripping again. So for me, Nvidia, 106, okay? If you were trying to buy Nvidia here at 128, okay, you thought, wow, this is a great stock at 128. Well, fuck me. Here it is at 106, okay? And if you get it a little bit lower down, and we're talking things like 95, 96, that sort of level there, I mean, that for me is a massive buy zone on Nvidia. Now, as long as fundamentally nothing really changes, you can see you backed up by this 200-day moving average as well at 88.90. So a nice juicy zone here, especially for the spot traders and things like that. What a nice area here on Nvidia. Naturally, if you start closing under things like the 200-day MA and things like that, like BTC is going to be in pain. BTC is going to be going like 45, 37, those types of levels if Nvidia is falling over like this with the market. Okay, so just remember, Nvidia is it's really something that we need to use as a guide and a sentiment for these types of things. So big level coming up, 95. Okay, if it doesn't bounce here, 95 is where you're at. Anything down to about 92. Anywhere in that zone for me, strong area for Nvidia, could pay off nicely in the future. And what's Mr. 420? I'm not comfortable with this pump. It's a trap, guys. This has been an absolute show for the last while. And, every sort of pump they've given back, we end up net down on these altcoins. It's absolute savagery out there at the moment. But at some point, one of these moves is going to be the bottom, and then things start taking off. So, my current strategy at the moment is to be in a few long positions when we get these scalps, take profit on some of these, and leave one or two open where you try and build a position in case this thing starts running away with us. At some point, we're going to get a mega candle here. And, I don't want to be caught, napping. I want to be in at least one that I am growing nicely there, especially from the leverage situation. So, let's just talk about where we are quickly on BTC. And Max is telling us here, he says, at your request, years 2016, 2020, and 2024 BTC halvings marked out with Q3 transitioning into Q4. Okay, so he's given you guys a couple of examples here with his chart. This was the first one he posted. This was 2016. We had a nice block in September and then a mega run there into Q4. This was 2020. Look at that. Nice little block into September. September ends. Wake me up when September ends. Bang. Look at that move and look where we are now. Okay, so let's just get perspective here. Let's hang in there. Okay, history doesn't always repeat, but it can rhyme. And even if the move is going to be lower, maybe they send BTC to 90K or 100K or something like that. If we use history as a guide, it's telling us come end of September, especially with these elections around the corner, it's making sense, okay, that we're going to get some kind of push there. So just hang in there. We've got the data that tells us what happens every time, we get into these situations. So let's see. And then Trend Spider just dropping, a little bit of bear sauce here on BTC at the moment. He says 5 straight months of downtrend. And yes, like net down again. This is totally a possibility for us. I just hope that this happens very quickly. Okay, I hope it happens in the next week or so, and then we can get it out of the way, and then we can start pushing. But we can't say this is not on the table. We can't say things like that are not on the table for us on BTC. And one more thing for you, just to give you guys a little bit of hope in the situation here. And Quinton says, on average, Bitcoin peaks 480 days after the halving. Okay, we currently 137 days after the BTC halving. And just take a look at this chart. I mean, look at the perspective as to where we are. This is this little black thing here at the bottom, and it's totally looking sad. Okay, but there's a lot of time left. There's a lot of time left in this market. A lot of things can still be happening. So just hang in there, okay? Just be strong. Okay, BTC on the daily. Let's just talk about this and, what are current scenarios. So I wanted to highlight again, on Monday, I spoke about those dump days that we had. This was the 5th of July, bang, okay? Killed us. This was the 5th of August, bang, killed us. And what did they do? They came and they gave us a dump here, mini dump, okay, on the 4th of September. Now, I'm hoping these guys aren't going to try again and send us back to hell. But if they are going to send us a little bit lower, if we pay attention to the daily chart, these levels they're actually beautiful the way they've been playing out at the moment. So 55K, that's your big one. Spot buyers, 55K, that's a big level. A little bit lower down, you can see 50K, okay? They come and take out some of this wick. They come and tie this in onto this descending trend down here. 50K, it's on the table, okay? Maybe it's a 48 or 49. Spot buyers, that's not a big deal for you guys. And, that is where you're looking. Leverage traders, well, Sol, we're going to be dialing in, okay? We're going to be looking for the right type of entries. But DCA guys, portfolio guys, that is where you're buying. You want to buy on these solid areas here. And especially if you believe in the conviction of the last couple of tweets that I've just shown you. And, that could then start playing out very nicely for you guys. And then there was a request on USDT dominance. So just to cover this is dominance in the market of USDT. Actually, as in sell all your crypto and swap it for USDT. And you can see this is on the weekly and a nice little chart to watch. Okay, so ideally what you're looking for is a rejection. Okay, when we get a solid rejection here, we know people are deploying, they're sending their money back into the shit coins and they're sending it back into BTC. So right now, USDT dominance, it does make sense to me. If it pushes up to the 6.5 region, I don't see why it wouldn't want to come and retest here, maybe a little double top situation there. And, once we get that nice rejection, that is going to be for us that we get a little bit of fun. And I believe he's concurring there. I have lost Ray. I have lost my sound. You can't actually hear you. I feel like I'm talking in a cave at the moment, but we continue. Okay, altcoins again. This is a sad story. Okay, if we can stare at this chart all day and wish for something different, but if we carry on looking at this is total 3, excluding Bitcoin, excluding ETH. This is all the shit coins in the market. And if we constantly stare at this thing and wish it to go higher, I've got bad news for you, because that looks like a massive rejection area there. And to look clear, it is starting to make sense to me for a little move down into that zone. So let's not write that off as a potential danger zone there, or a potential area for us. 480. We're going to be watching that one closely, and that is going to dictate all of these altcoins. Now, Sol BTC has just woken up. We had a small little move there on BTC today, and suddenly Sol started firing. So let's talk about Sol, okay? Because I had a limit order yesterday for Sol at 121.7, okay? And they sent it down to 122. But the important chart here is the Sol BTC chart that I tweeted earlier. So follow me here on Twitter at the Lord of Entry, and you can see we were sitting on nice weekly support here. So that was looking like an area where we could get a little bit of a bounce, and then I did get. I finally got a second Sol entry. So yesterday's Sol entry that I took got stopped out. They dumped it. Okay, my limit order was 121.7. You can see it's still there on the screen over there, and they just front ran me a little bit. So we had to do a little bit of scalping, and I'm going to teach you guys a couple of things now today, and I'm going to show you how to get these scalping entries. I'm going to show you how I use it to try and snag some entries here if I miss key levels like we did miss yesterday. So just to recap, Sol on the 12-hour, nice little sell-off, nice little dump, banged into our zone that we earmarked, unfortunately. And guys, my apologies to you. Okay, my entry was 121.7. It was clearly too low. I mean, yeah, it was clearly too low. So hopefully some of you were awake when it happened. Maybe some of you did get a couple of buys in on the zone, but I unfortunately missed that guard mode entry there. And now Sol is cooking. Okay, so now is this the play that I was talking about yesterday? Was that the bottom of the Sol move leading into breakpoint? Was that the bottom of the Sol move leading into rate cuts and things like that? So Sol is something I'm going to try and keep open here as long as we can. I just want to test this thing and see if we are able to hold it. So we're going to see how we go. Here is the scalper setup. So those of you that are interested in learning how to scalp and things like that, well, first thing you do, okay, here's your lesson number 1. First thing you do is look at the big time frame chart that I've just shown you, the 12-hour, get a picture as to where we are in the, in the grand scheme of things, what is actually going on. So you're going to look at this area here, and you're going to say, okay, cool, Sol is now pumping. Here's a danger zone for me, 137.5. Let's watch out there. That is a big danger.
Mic check, mic check.
This is now the 15-minute chart. I drag.
Unmute your mic, sir. Yo. Mic check. Talk. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. No noise. Mic check. Mic check. No, bro, not working. Exit the stream.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, are we good? Are we good?
Yes.
Okay, folks, sorry. Okay, here we go. First thing you do, grab your fibs, look for your bullish zones. Then you look for consolidation in these types of areas. So the first thing we want to identify here on Sol, you can see what happened. It started floating around a 382 fib. That is where you start getting interested. That is where you say, okay, cool. Let's nibble around this area. Let's look for some kind of structure and look for some kind of breakout, and bang. And we got that little breakout out of that region. And then once you start breaking these type of horizontals, that is where you can raise your stops and you can start earmarking new levels for yourself of support. These are areas you can use to now add to your trade. You can start adding when you break these types of levels here, because you want to just keep your average entry below these type of zones. So a typical little scalper player. Sorry, Rue, Niaz, I apologize, bro. I don't know what's going on here. Boomer tech vibes here. But that is typically now how you find an entry on the 15 minutes. And now with regards to targets and things like that, I've now shown this region, the big zone that is a concern for us, that 137. This is a huge danger zone here for us. So we got to watch this area very closely here. That is where we can get that type of big rejection. So we just got to watch out there. And remember, if your strategy is a quick scalp on Sol, big TP zone coming up, 137. If your strategy is, fuck me, I'm holding this thing for breakpoint, I want to see Sol at 170, well, then you're going to have to ride some of these rejections and just make sure that Sol is, holding these levels as the token moves higher up. And those little pullbacks could be areas where you can add to your trade and start growing your position size for maybe something a little bit bigger or a little bit more substantial. So very simple little game plan. And then another one that I liked for Sol was Dupe. And nice little play. Yesterday we looked at Drift on Solana. Dupe is a nice Sol play as well. Nice Sol narrative play. So if Sol has strength, then something like Dupe should give you a little bit of action. And Dupe, I've just banged out here on the 12 hour, and it was a nice little scalper for me too. And you can see the current game plan on Dupe. So Dupe, right now, you've got your support 0.66. Those are your dump lows. You can see why it bounced in this area. Typical little reaction area here for us. So nothing, nothing too fancy on Dupe. And now we're pushing up into a rejection zone, 0.77. We're going to exercise a little bit of caution there. So if you are scalping these types of things, you identify your big reaction zone in front of you, and then you start looking for that rejection in that area. And here it is on the 1 hour. Okay, so very simple little game plan. When you're looking for your entries, look at this thing. We had that pump earlier today. What did we get a pullback onto? A 382. And a nice little move onto 382 and horizontals here for us. Look at that. Nice little support there. 0.7. Okay. Floats around in that area. Get some kind of action. You can dial into the 15 minutes as well. Look for some structure and then pop. Okay. So off it goes now. Dupe is good. And, I'm going to show you that trade now, but my stop is just above that entry now. We're going to see how this thing plays out. And we are looking at 0.76 now as a potential target. So let's see how this plays out. Something along these lines, I would expect, is what we're going to be looking for on Dupe. So a couple of Sol narrative plays here. Solana on its own and Dupe. Maybe this thing's got legs. Let's see how it goes. I took this one on ZoomX, guys. And this is a KYC friendly exchange. No KYC needed. And all you need is an email address and a VPN. Okay, so jump into the link in the show description there. And if you want a piece of the ZoomX action, get trading on there. They're still offering huge and things for you guys as well. Now, the next trade I want to give you or just teach you guys about is what we set up in Sniper Club today. And it's very important, you know, these type of situations, it's hard sometimes to jump on the show live for you guys and have a trade ready to go, especially in these type of conditions that we're dealing with. Some of these things, though, it takes the whole day to get your entry. I've been watching these setups the entire day, waiting for them to get into their zones, testing these areas and things like that. So, you know, sometimes we jump into a position and, you know, on the show, and then it's the timing is great. But now today, for example, the market has started ripping, and we've missed a couple of decent entries for you guys. So just to talk about Ondo, bigger picture, okay, I gave you guys this zone yesterday, 0.5665. I spoke about this one on the show. I gave you two areas where I was looking for some kind of structure and some kind of bounce on Ondo. So first area hit during that dump. So it didn't dump that badly, and it pushed really nicely into that 566 zone. So for me, that was a note to now dial in on the 15 minutes. Let's start looking at this thing. Let's see what type of structure we get in that area. So Ondo dropped into the zone, and then we dialed in. Okay, so very simple game plan here. You dial into it now. This is Ondo on the 1 hour, but you can actually go in even smaller. You can go 15 minutes. And you start looking for structure in and around that region. So number one, we know we've got a big 786 fib pool here. We got a nice little 786 from the August dump, and it ties in very nicely with the dump on the 13th of April. So we knew we had nice little support in that region. Then we dial in and we say, okay, what is going on now in this area on a smaller time frame? And you can see what I did here, something very simple. What I did, I grabbed my fib from the lows, I pulled it to the highs at the time earlier today, and I looked for my 618. Okay, look at that little 618 in play there for us. And just the same way we saw Dupe on a 382, we saw Sol on a 382, we saw Bitcoin dancing around as well. Ondo was dropping onto a 618, okay, giving us a little bit of market structure in that in this area, a little bit of consolidation there, and then a nice little pop. And you can see we had a little trend as well, and that trend got smashed. Okay, so now we've pushed up into our TP zone 1, and immediately once this trade starts turning green, you're just raising your stop. You can bring your stop up to entry once it's green. You want to de-risk as much as possible. And I wanted to show you guys in Sniper Club quickly. I just want to show you how I took everybody through this trade today. Let me just get this one out quickly for you guys. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen, right? Let me just let me know if you can see this the screen here, right? Let me just let me get some boomer vibes out here quickly. Okay, so welcome to the Sniper Club, okay? And very simple game plan. So I've got a little section in Sniper Club here, Dylan Charts, okay? Every day I drop my market update and plan for the day. I talk about what I'm looking at. I throw in a couple of charts that I'm watching. I'll give you a little rundown as to what is going on. Then I've got a section here called Setups I'm Watching Today. And I broke it down into quite a few little setups here. You can see I did AVAX, I did PopCat, we did Solana, and we did Ondo, okay? And then once this started taking shape, it started making sense, and I jumped into Sniper Signals, where we send out some trade signals and things like that. And I dropped it in there earlier today at 3 o'clock, saying my reasoning behind it, what I was thinking, what I wanted to do, my plan behind the trade, and then just took everybody through that. So if you guys are interested in this type of stuff, okay, you're interested in this type of action, and you're interested in learning a little bit more about trading, you want to learn about how I scalp, you want to learn about how Ray scalps, you want to learn about how Bruce and the other team guys in there, and Sheldon, everybody, how they go about their things, that's where you want to be. You want to be in Sniper Club, and naturally take advantage of the charts there, take advantage of the education and all these things that we are doing in the Sniper Club for you. So come and join us. There is a link in the description if you want a piece of that. And, you know, yeah, come and hang out. Okay, there's tons going on there in Sniper Club. And
link in the comments.
There we go. Link is in the comments. Okay, let's go. Okay, so there is my Ondo trade. I took this one on WeX. And you can see this one is now ticking along nicely. And my current stop loss is 0.57. So we pretty much de-risked here completely on Ondo. And we've nailed our TP1 that has been smashed. And now we are just shy of our TP2. Okay, so we're nearly there. So we've nearly smashed 2 TPs in an afternoon. And let's see, the final stretch will take us to the 62.80 level. Ray, how are we on BTC here? Do we need to close this thing yet? Okay, we're still cooking here. Okay, so what we can do now, we've broken the 618, okay? So what we're going to do here, just little update here on BTC. We've broken the 618. Let's push this, raise our fibs. Okay, we want to look at some bullish zones here. Where can we put our fibs and where can we move our stops to now that this thing is moving? We don't want to give up all our gains. And right now you can see I've got a super bullish fib here, the 236 fib. So we're watching this now on 1 hour time frame. And we want to almost, you can almost make it a trailing type of stop. So what's interesting to me here is this little zone there. Okay, so you can see our little 236. So if we start losing this area, I want to see that region hold for me before some kind of bounce. So it's a no panic zone until we start losing this 57,729. Then we have to just pay a little bit more attention there and look for some kind of bounce. But yeah, BTC moving nicely so far, so good. And then a little scalper set up for you guys on PopCat as well. I gave you this chart yesterday. So hopefully you guys are watching the show. Hopefully you guys are well, I hope you guys are taking notes and things like that, or rewatching the show. Look at the charts that I present to you every day, okay? Because, you know, sometimes we'll do a lot of work leading into these days. Then we get our entries when I'm offline, okay? Then you hit your zones. Then you know you can jump into those areas. You can play those zones. So make sure you watch the show daily and you look at these things. I mean, PopCat was in the show yesterday, I believe, as well. And because I was short PopCat, okay? Why was I short PopCat? We were short from the 50-day MA. We were short from this 382 and we were short from this horizontal. So it made sense for a short in that region. It dropped down. Where did it bounce? Exactly on the 100-day MA, the 618, and I think it's the 382 as well. So this was a big bounce zone for us on PopCat. Okay, so nice little reaction there. And then earlier today, I was telling the Sniper Club guys, I was looking for a scalp on PopCat. Okay, so when the market started falling over, the first thing I did was pull out my fibs from the absolute lows to the highs. Okay, then you start looking for a reaction. Now, PopCat started falling over quite quickly, and we saw things like Sol and that sort of stuff were front running these areas, and PopCat was losing it. And I dropped in Sniper Club. I was looking for a buy here at this type of region, the 618. Unfortunately, the market bounced early. Okay, so we missed a potential entry there on PopCat. We were looking for this move into the anchored VWAP, the 618, the horizontal, for a nice banger little play there, but it wasn't in my zone. Okay, so it wasn't in the 618. So this thing now fired off. So PopCat traders, okay, there's a couple of things you can look out for now. If this thing pushes more, there's your next short opportunity brewing for you right here. Okay, 6366. It's going to be the exact same play that we looked at yesterday. So the same game plan of the same region, that is still resistance. There's no reason to assume it's not resistance. Okay, so that's the same game plan here on PopCat, a push up into that region. You can look for some kind of structure there, look for some kind of rejection, just like we had here the other day. Look at that. We rejected, and what did? They pumped us up, and then they sent it down again. So you're going to look for something along these lines, a little push up into that zone, some kind of rejection, maybe another visit, and then send it down again. So look out in that area on PopCat, could be an opportunity. And then the bulls, if you're feeling bullish, okay, you know the drill. Okay, you're going to take your fibs. Okay, we've had a nice little move today. Let's see if it's sustainable. We take our fibs from the low to the high, and you want to look at a couple of areas of interest. So for me, the big one is going to be this 382 region lower down. Okay, so there's a potential bullish play here on PopCat. You just got to let this thing do what it needs to do. Okay, it might have to pull back a touch. Let's just bang out this that thing. Okay, so we're looking at something along these lines. Okay, that could be your potential push then into that region. So a small little move could potentially brewing there. Naturally, what you want to look for this little flag dropping into the zone. Look for some structure there, and then a little break off that area. So 5767. Mark that one on your charts. If we do get a bit of weakness, 5767, you can look for a bounce there. Okay, this is a 15-minute trend break. You're looking for the break, the retest, and that can send you potentially to that 63 level. So keeping it simple, and then naturally your stop is going to be at a close under this 382 region, okay, because that means you're breaking back into the trend and you're losing that 382. So then not looking great. Okay, then you're potentially coming a lot deeper there. So take a look at this chart. Mark these levels down, and let's see if you get a little bit of action out of this later on today. Now, I've got chart requests for you guys, and I'm really enjoying this. So after the show, what you guys need to do for me, drop the tokens you want me to see in the comments, okay? And whatever you want, we go through them, and if they're relevant to us, we going to drop your chart comments, drop your charts in the comments after the show. And one of them was Dupe that you guys requested yesterday, and I've covered that one. And the other one is Say. And I thought, geez, we haven't looked at, Stacks and Say. And we haven't looked at Stacks and Say in a very long time. And Stacks is one of these interesting ones that we know likes to run when Bitcoin is super bullish. And you can see what happened on that dump yesterday. Nothing too complicated here. All we did was mark out some key levels. So you take Stacks from the low, the August 5th dump, to the high, and you start marking out a couple of strong fib levels and things like that. And look at this. Stacks move straight into the fib, the 618 fib. Look at that. 1.364. Nice little reaction there. So anything can still happen here with Stacks. We are looking for some kind of consolidation in this area. We do know, okay, quite typically after these type of dumps, a lot of the time we get these wicks revisited, or they come back and they try and do some kind of double bottom and things like that. So Stacks for me, 1.36 is not off the table again for another visit. And, I would use that one as support now. 1.36, use that as your support level. That's a marker for you guys. They've dumped it into that zone. Strong buy. And if it's going to stay bullish, you just looking for that next visit to 1.364. Looks pretty good. And then if they drop us again, it's the exact same game plan that we had with Ondo, that we had with Popcat, that we had with Sol, all these types of things. You're looking for structure at this 1.22. You're looking for a little range, consolidation, that sort of thing. The minute it starts turning a little bit more bullish, you can start adding and growing that thing. So watching 1.36 on Stacks, 1.22, and then the upside for me, you've got big resistance here. So just be careful. 1.55, big resistance zone here for me on Stacks, 1.55. That for me is a potential rejection area. So if we get a nice little green candle here on BTC and we start rejecting at some interesting levels, I would expect Stacks, 1.55, look for a rejection there on that guy. And then Say, also interesting one. So we had our dump on the 5th of August, as everybody remembers. Beautiful day that. Wasn't that horrific? And then what did it do? It's pumped up, retraced. Okay, nice. It's an interesting little play here because this thing pumped up and most likely settled down originally on 382 or something. That was a 0.5. Okay, so what did it do with, you would have found confluence with other tokens, but you can see it dropped onto a 0.5 there. And now if we pull this fib from the low to the high, you can see it's reacting on a 618. So that is good support that you guys can play with now. And this is still a DCA zone of interest for us. Okay, so 0.265, that is a zone of interest. Okay, let's see what happens if the market turns bullish with Say, okay, because you could get a rejection there, and then we potentially looking a little bit bearish. Okay, so if you're sitting in Say as a leverage trader and things like that, watch out. 0.303. Okay, that could be a monster rejection zone for you. That is potentially a head and shoulders that could play out, and then they come send it lower and they come and test out the wick lows from that big dump. Okay, so just look out there in that type of area. Say 0.265, that is support that you can watch right now. And let's look at Rune. Oh, wow. Okay. So Rune has just blown through. Geez, this thing is volatile, Ray. Wow. Look at this thing. So, I mean, let's through what Rune did yesterday. I mean,
missed that trade. Wow.
Jeez, bro. This thing pumped 11%. Okay, we're watching 1 hour candles. Okay, this thing pumped 11%. Okay, how many people bought the top here? Okay, then it dumped 14%. Okay, like literally in a few hours. Okay, it's dumped again 14%. Now, off the lows today, what has it done? It's pumped 9%. Okay, so if you feel like you're getting chopped up here, guys, I mean, look at this Rune chart. Okay, this happened in 24 hours, or maybe just a little bit more than 24 hours. They've just come and rinsed everybody, always. Okay, so, don't feel bad. If you feel like you're getting chopped up, well, here's your proof. Okay, you got ruined by Rune. And, simple game plan here. And a reminder again, okay, if you get your areas, you get your entries, take profit, okay? Jump out in nice little areas, nice little resistance areas, bank your profits. This market is so choppy at the moment. And I remind you of that strategy again. If you find a few nice areas, let's say you open 3 trades, okay? Let's say you take, I know Bogdan likes Rune, come on. But let's say you take 3 trades, okay? Keep one open that you can add to if things turn really super bullish. Don't mind round tripping that one. Then maybe the other 2. find big resistance zones, take profit. Find in the next big resistance zone, take profit, raise your stops, do what you need to do. Keep one open here. If the market runs away, at least you have one in the game that can start ripping for you guys. So, you know, it might not be Rune, but what an absolute nightmare, this thing. Okay, let's see possible zones here on Rune and how we can deal with this thing. And you can see this thing's been, okay, we know it's been volatile. So now we bang straight back into our 6 rejection area. Let's just highlight this one for you. Okay, rejection zone here for Rune. This is a potential short area here. Now you're going to watch what BTC is doing. Okay, 3.955. You got a trend, you got horizontals, you got the 50-day MA in your way here. If BTC rejects hard in this type of area here, I would expect Rune to start rejecting. Let's actually take a quick look at dominance. Let's just see what dominance is doing.
Dominance is actually going up.
It's on the daily. I want to look at dominance on the 1 hour. Let's see. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's responding to Bitcoin. So, I mean, you can see that Bitcoin candle looking pretty good. But, I mean, again, look at this chop. Okay. Look at this chop in dominance. This is like, it's brutal. 330 dirty birds. I got fucked by Rune before. You got ruined by Rune. Look, this thing is savage. This thing is volatile. Remember the game plan here, guys. Decreasing or descending dominance. Dominance falling over, good for altcoins. Dominance pumping, less good for altcoins if Bitcoin is going up. Horrific for altcoins if Bitcoin is falling over. Like, really, like it gets ugly. So, yeah, just play the dominance chart. You can see, and we don't mind. If this thing's green and Bitcoin is pumping, then we're okay. Okay, it's not the end of the world. It's just when it's the other way around, things can get spicy. Okay, guys, hopefully you learned something today. Got a couple of things here. You got your BTC levels. I think you guys are organized now for the next 24 hours. Good luck. Okay, play it safe out there. Try a new strategy there. You know, keep the trades down. Keep one open, close a few, you know the drill. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Later.